Imagine this. Someone throws a verbal dagger at you. The whole room goes silent. All eyes are on you, waiting to see if you'll bleed or if you'll strike back. Most people lash out. They raise their voice, they argue, they let anger write the script for them. And that's why most people lose. But the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, knew better. They understood a brutal truth. The man who controls his tongue controls the battlefield. You don't need to shout. You don't need to out-argue. You need to respond in a way so calm, so sharp, so composed that your opponent realizes they've already lost. This is not weakness, this is weaponized composure. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best answer to anger is silence." But silence alone isn't always enough. Sometimes you need words, words that cut deeper than any insult, words that silence an enemy without raising your volume. Today, I'll give you 5 smart Stoic responses that will disarm critics, shut down disrespect, and make people think twice before ever crossing you again. And don't mistake this for being nice. These are not soft replies. These are power moves rooted in discipline, philosophy, and a touch of psychological warfare. Let's begin. Response 1. Help me understand your logic. The first response is a blade hidden inside a question. When someone attacks you, insults your intelligence, or mocks your ideas, most expect you to fight back. Instead, you lean in calmly and say, "Help me understand your logic." What makes you so certain? This flips the entire exchange. You don't fight on their battlefield, you drag them into yours. Because here's the truth. Most people throw words like rocks. Quick, sloppy, and without precision. They don't have reasoning, they have emotion. I'll give you a story. Years ago, I worked with a man who constantly interrupted others during meetings. One day, while I presented an idea, he cut me off and sneered, "Your plan is unrealistic. It'll never work." I could have defended myself, argued, raised my voice. Instead, I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Interesting. Can you walk me through your reasoning? What makes you so sure?" He froze. He mumbled. He fumbled. Because, like most critics, he didn't actually know. He was reacting. The room shifted. He exposed himself, not me. This technique is pure Stoicism. Socrates used it constantly, asking questions so that people revealed their own ignorance. Cato once said, "An angry man opens his mouth and shuts his eyes. By asking them to explain, you force them to open their eyes, and often they don't like what they see." Psychology backs this up. When someone attacks you, they're operating from the emotional brain, not the logical one. Your question forces them into the rational brain where their argument collapses. Use this response when someone criticizes you vaguely. Don't fight, make them explain. The silence that follows will do the damage for you. Response 2. You're right. Here's what I'll do. Sometimes the smartest move is not resistance, but ruthless acceptance. When criticism is true, don't waste a second defending yourself. Don't make excuses. Don't whine. Instead, look your critic in the eye and say, "You're absolutely right. Here's how I'll fix it." This is what I call weaponized humility, because here's what happens. People expect you to resist. They want to see you squirm, justify, or fight back. But when you surrender strategically, you take all the air out of their attack. I once watched a young man get destroyed in front of his boss. The boss said, "You missed the deadline again. This is becoming a pattern." The kid tried to defend himself. "Well, you have to understand, the system was slow and the files didn't." Pathetic. Excuses kill respect. But another time, I saw a man in the same position reply differently. His boss criticized him and he said, "You're right. I underestimated the time required. Here's what I'm changing so it won't happen again." Silence. Then a nod. The attack turned into respect. This works because people don't want perfection. They want responsibility. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." Owning your mistakes without defense embodies wisdom. But don't confuse this with weakness. You only use this when the criticism is legitimate, when you really are wrong. If the attack is baseless, then you need another weapon. Which brings us to the third response. Response 3. That's an interesting perspective. What made you think that? This one is lethal because it forces people to expose themselves. When someone insults you, when they take a jab designed to humiliate, you don't fight, you don't defend. You just tilt your head slightly and say, "That's an interesting perspective. What made you think that?" I once saw this used at a dinner table. A woman was mocked by a man who sneered, "Freelancers have it easy. You basically sit at home and play on your computer all day." He expected her to defend herself, to explain her long hours, her clients, her workload, but she didn't. She just smiled and said, "That's an interesting perspective. What made you think that?" The man stammered. He exposed his ignorance in front of everyone. The table shifted against him. This is psychological judo. You're redirecting their energy back at them. And here's the dark truth. Most people don't know why they say half the things they say. They're projecting. They're insecure. And when you ask them to unpack it, their facade crumbles. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This response embodies that. You stay calm while they unravel. You stay composed while they show their pettiness. Use this in social settings, business meetings, even family disputes. The more public, the better, because humiliation delivered by their own words cuts deeper than anything you could ever say. Response 4. I appreciate you telling me. This one feels counterintuitive, but it's devastatingly effective. When someone comes at you aggressively, shouting, insulting, complaining, disarm them with gratitude. Say, "I appreciate you telling me that. I had a neighbor once who stormed over, red-faced, shouting about my dog barking early in the morning. His words were fire. Your dog is driving the neighborhood insane. If this continues, I'll call animal control." My blood boiled. My instinct was to defend, to argue back. Instead, I said calmly, "I appreciate you telling me. I had no idea. Thank you for letting me know." His rage evaporated. His shoulders dropped. Suddenly, we weren't enemies. We were partners trying to solve a problem. He gave me advice, suggested trainers, even offered help. Why? Because gratitude disarms hostility. People expect resistance. They're ready for your defensiveness. When you thank them instead, you pull the ground out from under them. Seneca once said, "A sword never kills anybody. It is a tool in the killer's hand." Anger is the same. If you refuse to pick it up, their weapon falls useless to the floor. This response is not for every situation. Don't use it when someone is insulting you purely to provoke. Use it when someone is expressing frustration in a clumsy, aggressive way. Gratitude transforms them from attacker into ally. Response 5. Silence plus "thank you for that insight." The last response is the deadliest of all, and it requires no weapon but silence. When someone throws a truly outrageous insult, something meant to crush you, you don't defend, you don't argue, you pause. 3 seconds of silence, eye contact, let their words hang in the air for everyone to taste. Then you say, calmly, almost gently, "Thank you for that insight." I saw a man use this during a business presentation. A competitor tried to humiliate him in front of everyone. I'm not sure we can take advice from someone with such little experience. The room went quiet. The man didn't flinch. He just stared for a moment, then said, "Thank you for that insight." The silence that followed was crushing. Everyone saw the competitor for what he was: petty, insecure, unprofessional. The man didn't defend himself. He didn't need to. His composure did the work. And yes, he won the contract. This works because silence magnifies their words. It forces the audience, not you, to judge them. And trust me, they will. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This response shows total mastery over your reaction. While they sink into emotional chaos, you remain untouchable. The Stoics' seal. These 5 responses are not tricks. They're not comebacks, they're disciplines. They silence not with noise, but with composure. The Stoics knew that the man who controls himself wins every battle before it starts. You don't need louder words, you need sharper ones, or no words at all. Remember, the point is not to win arguments, it's to command respect, to remain unshaken when others lose themselves, to show that your discipline is stronger than their insult. Because in the end, people reveal more about themselves when they attack you than they reveal about you. And if you can respond with calm power, then you've already won. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.